Good evening, and thank you for being here. Happy Valentine's Day. If we could please rise for the City Council prayer. Dear God, today as this session opens, we pray that your presence will be before us and everyone who serves in the decision-making process of our city. We pray for direction which will lead our city to be strong and unified. May we continue the legacy of our founders. May we be granted this day the wisdom to make decisions which will be good for our city. We also pray for your special blessing in all those who are working to transform our city and make it a better place to live and work. Amen. If we could salute the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. If the clerk could call the roll.
Counsellor Elliott. Counsellor Kennedy.
Here.
Counsellor Leahy. Here. Counsellor Mercia.
Here.
Counsellor Milanazzo.
Here.
Counsellor Noon.
Here.
Mayor Samaras. Counsellor Cirillo.
Here.
Counsellor Conway.
Here.
8 present.
Thank you. Are there any moment of silence this evening? No? Okay. And Councilor Elliott just came in.
Okay.
Before we begin, I'd like to take something out of order, 5.3. 5.3 out of order, so that, because, thank you, motion by Councilor Milanazzo, seconded by Councilor Noon. All those in favor signify by saying aye. All those opposed, motion carries. First off, we're going to have a presentation this evening. So if you want to start that, that's fine. Thank you. You look on your screen. Go ahead. Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Joseph Drown. I'm with Perkins Easton Architects, and I'm here with Mary Ann Williams from Skanska. We'll be presenting this evening. Most of this presentation I think you've all seen before, so for brevity, we'll move through it rather quickly, except for the issue on costs that we'll discuss in a little bit more detail. If there's anything that I'm going through quickly that you want to pause, please let me know. Of course, this is the existing location of intersection of Arcan and Father Morissette, and this is the proposed solution here. We have a quick fly-through that gives you an orientation. A lot of the work that's been done with regard to the 1922 building has to do with basically what we call like new construction. New mechanical, electrical, plumbing, fire protection systems. We're providing new accessibility on Kirk Street as well as Father Morissette, new windows, new insulation. So it's, when the work is done, it's very much a like new building. You can see here as we move around to the south side, we see the connections with the new bridges, as well as the gymnasium. And then the courtyard. So we've incorporated green space into the design works well for ROTC and PE, as well as the community use. And then there's the Freshman Academy, the two pedestrian boulevards along Father Morissette and Arcan. And into the main lobby. The educational program is really the driver of the solution here. And there are a number of goals that we covered that are expressed in the architecture. And of course, the schedule we discussed previously, we've started this back in 2016. Right now, we're at the end of schematic design. We've done a number of cost estimates as we've gone through this. And we're going to get into this cost estimate in just a moment. We'll be moving, we're submitting to MSBA on the 20th of February, and we have a board meeting scheduled for April 10th. We'll be moving into our detailed design as we move forward, and as well as construction. I think there are a couple points here is that there'll be 3 cost estimates as we get through detailed design, so there's always an opportunity to refine scope back to the budget. We're setting the budget early in schematic design, but we have enough experience to do this working with Skanska and our cost estimators. We also wanted to point out with regard to construction is that although this is a very large project and it goes across a span of 5 years, there are smaller projects within it, and that the gymnasium becomes available 18 months in the summer of '22, and a freshman academy comes online in the winter of 2024. With regard to cost, I think there are a number of issues with this we'd like to get into a little bit more detail, because that's an area where you haven't seen that before, this information before. And I'd like to start by saying that we've had 2 independent cost estimates that we developed. One from the designer, and also Skanska had their own independent cost estimator. That was a very long, detailed process. It took 4 weeks to estimate and a week to reconcile. So we're very comfortable with these numbers as we go through this and explain them to you. And what's interesting, I think, is, and it will show up in the cost as you go through it, what you've been able to achieve by renovating the existing building. The total square footage of the building is 622,000 square feet, and the renovation is 388,000 square feet. And although dollars per square foot is not necessarily a representation across the board of all projects, and it really has to be understood on a project-by-project basis. But what you see here is the fact that we're able to utilize a lot of the existing building, the structure, the foundation, the walls. Those are things that you do not have to build now. And in doing that, the city is gaining savings. So that represents $358 a square foot in the renovation space. The new construction is smaller. It's 334,000 square feet, and that's identified as $485 a square foot. So you can see just in the dollars per square foot, you're saving over $130 per square foot just in renovation compared to new. The site is broken out. There is site cost associated with this, as well as building takedown. We've strategically decided which portions of the building that didn't work well, and those were demolished. There's obviously the field house. There were portions of the 1980s building which just couldn't be transformed, so portions of those were taken down. So that's represented in that cost. The building demolition takedown in hazmat is at $17 million, 17.4. So the total estimated construction cost is $270 million $444,856, representing $434 per square foot. And the project cost is $343,399,000. The local share is $129,267,000. And I think the other thing that is important to understand when you look at these numbers is how can you establish cost projection at this point? And the project is going to be a number of years into the future. So we carry a lot of contingency for the things that we are not able to define at this point. And that's important because those contingencies will be turned into real construction costs, but the bottom line will stay the same as we move through. And just as an overview, our construction contingency for this project is over $60 million. And it's broken up into a number of categories. We have design contingency, which is $18 million. We have escalation. We carry escalation halfway through construction, and that's $15 million. We have a contingency that the construction manager will have that they'll be using in the event that they need it, and that's $7 million. We have a construction contingency, so when we get into construction and if things turn out differently than we anticipate, there's $18 million. And an owner contingency of $2 million. So with our two independent estimators and the history of both Perkins Eastman and Skanska doing projects of this scale, we feel very confident in where the project is going in terms of the future, and we believe we have the tools to manage it for you as we move forward. This is just a next step as to the things that you'll be seeing as we move forward. Obviously, this evening is our City Council meeting. The 20th is the submission to MSBA. We will have what's called a project scope and budget agreement. That will be a meeting with the city and MSBA to establish what the project scope and budget will be formally. And then there'll be a board meeting April 10th. We expect a city council meeting to follow that, where it's identified currently as April 24th to vote approval of MSBA's funding, and then authorization for the OPM and the design team to move forward. We have design that looks like it will begin in May of 2019 and complete in February of 2021. We have a CM coming on board. We mentioned that earlier to you, and that's identified as in June. That will help work through some of the details in terms of constructability and more detail in the phasing. And then we have a construction duration which starts in March of 2021 and completes in July of 2026.
Thank you. Are you through, Joe? Yes. Okay, we had a motion to suspend the rules by Councilor Milanazzo, seconded by Councilor Noon, but I want to read the vote because I need a motion to do this. Authorize the submission of the schematic design to the Massachusetts School Building Authority relative to the Lowell High School project. I would entertain a motion by Councilor Kennedy, seconded by Councilor Conway. I will open this up to the public. There are 3 people registered to speak, if that's all right with my colleagues. First on the agenda to speak is Ken Woodrow. Ken, name and address for the record, please.
Ken Woodrow, 168 Woodbine Ave, Manchester, New Hampshire.
Okay, go ahead.
All right. Thank you, City Councilors and City Manager Donahue. My name is Ken Woodrow. I'm the Director of Operations at Cobblestones. I'm here tonight on behalf of the Plaths, the Cobblestones loyal guests, and our 50 employees. Unfortunately, Scott and Kathy are out of town until Sunday, and they asked me to speak to you all on their behalves. Contrary to a misleading headline in the Lowell Sun, we seek the opposite of out. We seek collaboration, support, and solutions to this landmark's healthy existence for another 25 years. So please don't be misled by the article that was written today. Each of you previously received a letter from Scott and Kathy. It detailed concerns they have regarding the proposed design and traffic configuration of the new high school and possible devastating effects it will have upon Cobblestone's ability to survive. We are extremely excited to celebrate our 25th year here in Lowell, and I can tell you all, as someone who's been in the restaurant industry for a very long time, this is a remarkable accomplishment. Think of all the restaurants that have come and gone in that 25-year period, and it's quite a list. It's also a testament to not only the hard work and perseverance in one of the most challenging industries, but also to have the community support and loyal clientele we have built over the years. Against great odds, together we have sustained a successful business model while contributing millions of dollars in payroll, city taxes, and community support. It has been our intention to be here for another 25 years. As you enter the next phases of the high school project, which we heard about earlier today, and before the final engineering and design phase, I am here today to go on record and ask that you all assist us in finding creative, proactive ways to mitigate the great burden this project is placing on all of our futures. It remains our wish to work with the city as it embarks on a massive construction project to deliver a first-rate high school for the children of Lowell. We understand decisions you are all making are based on the Lowell students' best interests. We respectfully request that you consider the incredible impact this project will have on neighboring businesses, most specifically Cobblestones, which is in the immediate vicinity of this project. Functions, private parties, business meetings comprise a vital revenue stream for our business, and the loss of all the invaluable leased parking in the dentist parking lot is a huge blow to us. With the additional loss of parking spaces on Merrimack Street due to changed traffic patterns and now the possible loss of all parking directly in front of our building currently used by staff and guests alike, the challenges to our survival continue to mount. The most recent proposed conceptual design of the high school in Dutton Street Dead End depicts a possible school bus thoroughfare through to Arcan Drive and poses many questions and concerns. Here are a few of them. Will the bus traffic back up, blocking our front doors? Will the buses travel through in the mid-afternoon and early evenings for sports pickup as they do on Father Morissette Boulevard? Where will the dumpsters be located? Will students and parents use the Dutton Street extension for pickup as well? Will this be a two-way road? Will it be a one-way road? Will it be a road for the general public's use as well? Will there be any parking available on either side of the road or anywhere around our building for our customers and our employees to park? In the shorter term, we also are extremely concerned about the scope of the construction project itself and how it will impact our business. Again, more questions. Where will the staging area be located? Where will the materials and construction trucks, cranes, porta potties, etc. be located? What routes will these vehicles take to get into the site? Where will the construction workers park? Will the front of our building be blocked at any time? Will there be continuous pedestrian traffic allowed on Dutton Street in front of our building during the construction? Will vehicle traffic and parking be allowed on Dutton Street during this construction? Please understand, Cobblestone today remains a growing and successful business. We have served over 2 million customers to date and continue to see more and more new customers each day. I just left a packed dining room on Valentine's Eve to come join you tonight. The Plaths took over an abandoned building in 1994 when very few were taking such risks in downtown Lowell. They blazed this trail before the arena, the spinners, or Mill Number 5 were developed. Yes, we've been here that long. Cobblestones continues to be a trustworthy go-to spot for theater goers, the arena, the spinners, birthday parties, engagements, downtown business people, professors, visitors from UMass Lowell and Middlesex Community College, and celebrities alike. Oprah was there just a few short months ago. We have recently updated the third floor and continue to beautify and maintain both the interior and the exterior of the building. We've employed thousands of local residents over the years, including Lowell High School, UMass Lowell, Middlesex Community College students, many of which are second-generation employees for us. Scott and Kathy's intentions have always been to continue to build upon Cobblestone's success. They love the city and are proud of the business they have built here and the community that they serve. We have previously voiced our concerns to the city manager and the development and the Department of Planning and Development teams. We also wanted to make sure you all are aware of these concerns and you make future decisions regarding final design and landscape of the high school. We do not have answers to the questions posed. We are asking you directly for your help in finding answers to these questions and for you to work collectively with us to protect and ensure a successful, long-standing downtown business and landmark. We are grateful for your time and for taking our concerns under consideration. We understand this is a complicated project and do not seek answers today, but seek an understanding of the impact it will have on our business and the lives of the employees that work with us each day. We look forward to discussing with you in the meantime. Please feel free to reach out to Scott and Kathy if you have questions. I thank you for allowing me to speak today.
Thank you.
Richard Healy.
Thank you for letting me speak. I found out about this morning, so I don't have anything prepared.
Excuse me, Richard, could you give you a name and address?
My name is
for the
Richard Healy. I operate the Keep on 110 Gorham Street here in Lowell. I live on 55 Frothingham Street here in Lowell. I'm from Lowell. I'm happy to be a small business owner in Lowell as of April of this last year. It's a very nice restaurant. I hope all of you make your way down. It used to be Ricardo's. But I'm here to voice my support for Scott. When he opened his restaurant, I was 6 years old, and it's incredible that it is still going. It's by far one of the most volatile and risky businesses, and I think that's common knowledge at this point. Our business hangs on a thread every night. It really is amazing that he's kept it going for this long, continues to keep it going, and has been this loyal to the city, considering every opportunity that presents itself for people to expand and explore different opportunities. I imagine he'd love to be here in this room, mostly because I bet he knows all of you and has had you all over for dinner and can only say nice things about you. But you really do hold his livelihood in so many ways in your hands with this project. Again, I have nothing prepared. This is just something I know he'd say if it was my location and not his. I'm speaking as well for my general manager, Matthew. He's the next one on the list, Matthew McCarthy. He is also a friend of Scott. We have employees that have worked for him and worked for us. There's only positive things that they say about him. I really would hope, I imagine you've done your due diligence with this project. I know everything that's gone into it from one location discussed to another, but I'd ask that you do a little bit more for a real loyal Lowellian who supports all of us in an industry that is really growing in this city and needs everyone's help in order to foster that growth. So thank you.
Thank you, Richard.
Matthew McCarthy.
You don't want to? Okay, that's fine. Thank you. That concludes the public to speak. Councilor Kennedy, did you have?
Just on the motion on the floor is a motion to send it to the MSBA. If the motion passes, then I would probably offer a second motion that would ask the city manager to look at the concerns that were expressed today for the, by Cobblestones. But I don't think that they should be, I think the two motions should be separate from one another because the MSBA motion would be going to the MSBA.
Thank you. Manager Donahue.
Thank you. I just wanted to, in response, make it clear to the council. I have been meeting with the Plaths. I've met with them. I've met with their agent came in. I've met with them on several occasions. We have referred them to Planning and Development, who have also been working with the Plaths. And in terms of some of their concerns, you know, these are works in progress with a project this big. Nothing has been finalized. But we have been at the table with them for months now. I just want to make everybody aware of that. And we totally value their business and their longevity here in the city. They're an important icon right in the downtown. So we've expressed that to them, and we will continue to work with them around their concerns.
Thank you. Councilor Elliott.
Thank you, Madam Chair. So that was my point. I know you have been meeting with them for quite some time. In the interest of disclosure, I spoke to Ms. Plath this morning, this afternoon, and the concern is that there has been little progress taking place or moving forward. Particularly, their concern is with parking. What options are there? Because You know, parking is a big part, as we all read in their letter. It's a big part of their function hall, or function, they have functions there. I'm just trying to think, where is there possibly parking that we could, if they don't have any parking, then that's the business.
We will continue to work with them. I mean, for one thing, the garage that we're building in the Hamilton Canal District is actually going to be closer to Cobblestones than it is the courthouse. But we will continue to work around that, as well as if there are any other options. Actually, we're a few years out from dealing with the loss of 75 Arcand, and there's time to talk about that. But that's what we have been working with them.
Oh, that's good to know. So it's several years before their ability to park at 75 Arcand will go away.
It's a couple of years at this point. So they've been in, and we've talked to them. You know, obviously we need to make certain we have access to the school, and that, you know, the traffic flows appropriately for deliveries and for pickup and drop off. But I think, you know, there's been many iterations of drawings, and I think some people think this is already set in stone, and perhaps Joe can address that. These are concepts. We've worked with Natasha and as well as their traffic engineers who have come in. So this is an ongoing process, and I appreciate and respect the concern of the business, but we're not in a position to say definitively today, this is exactly what it's going to look like. We're very well aware of what their concerns are.
Okay, no, that's good, because I agree. I think it's an important business. It's been a business here for 25 years. And we want to send a message to other businesses that we are business friendly, and we will work and we will take care of them. And it is a complex project. So I think that the Plaths will, you know, as you mentioned, you've been meeting with them, but and I get it, they're looking for some reassurance as far as purchasing the building. I mean, and some of the other suggestions. I mean, personally, it's just, you know, that's a cost that's not included. It would have to go out for RFP. It wouldn't be reimbursable, so I don't think that's, in my opinion, an option. But I think if we can accommodate somehow, some way, parking, where parking is a premium, we understand. We have our police officers parking in the Masonic Temple. It's so, you know, it's so bad. So that's good to know. So thank you, Madam Manager. Madam Chair, I just had a question for, a follow-up question from the School Building Committee. On the contingency fund, can you give me an example or examples or a reason why there would be $18 million in a contingency for design? That seems like a sort of staggering number to me, that we're going to put $18 million aside. I understand this is construction manager risk, but are the designs going to change that significantly as we go through this process that would warrant that amount?
Yes, go ahead, Joe.
Madam Chair, to the City Council, that number is intended for design that is not shown yet. We anticipate that number will reduce, and that amount of money gets transferred to the bottom line. The bottom line stays the same. So it's because we're in schematic design, and we still need to complete designing the building. And as we continue to design the building, more of the building becomes visible, and cost estimators can put better numbers to that. So it's a way of being able to make sure the city has sufficient money available as the design process continues.
Okay. And could you explain the $2 million, the last $2 million owners contingency, what that references and what that would potentially cover?
Those contingencies are both the construction and the owner contingency is managed by the city. That's not managed by the design team or the construction manager. So that is reviewed, and depending upon what issues come up, the city has the ability to be able to act on them. And oftentimes during construction, things need to be decided quickly. So that is a contingency that could be used to do that. With regard to the owner contingency specifically, there are times when additional costs on the design side may be required. If we get into excavations and find things underground that we hadn't understood were there previously. There may be costs associated with that, either from investigation side or from an engineering side. So it gives the city a budget to be able to work within to be able to solve those problems for unforeseens that may arise.
Okay.
Thank you. Joe, did you have a comment that you wanted to make? Oh, you didn't.
Oh, sure.
Go ahead.
With regard to the design of the site trafficking right now, that is a point in time. We're continuing to work with city traffic engineer, and as we move into the next phase, there's a number of studies that we continue to work with them to refine the traffic on site, both pedestrian traffic and vehicular traffic, delivery traffic, bus traffic. All of those are very important to separate, and we are in the process of deciding what is the best location for each of those. Nothing has been written in stone at this point, but there's an open conversation with city traffic and the design traffic group.
Okay. Councilor Leahy?
Thank you. So a couple of quick questions. There's only one main entrance, right, at the high school? And that's going to be on Father Morissette?
There is one main entrance. There are a number of entrances that will be open as all students arrive. But once all students arrive, those entrances will be closed, and you'll have to go to the main entrance, and that's controlled by security.
Right, so in the morning, there's only one way to get into the school.
No. In the morning, there are a number of ways into the school.
So does
that
the
are
school
being-
department know this? They're going to have security desks all around the building?
No. There's been ongoing discussion with the school department as to how to manage each of these entrances to allow the number of students that arrive at the school to be able to come in efficiently. But once they arrive, all those entrances will be locked down except for the main entrance.
All right. All right, that I don't understand, because I don't think they have all right, I don't understand that one. Why would you need multiple entrances?
Because there's 3,500 students in the school, and they're coming from a number of different locations.
All right, it just seems like they don't have enough security guards there now, so they're going to be prepared for this and have budget for entrances and
Well,
security?
they have been in on the discussions and the planning at this stage. We've been meeting with the educational component as well as security. And this would be for a limited period of time, as Joe has pointed out, just when students are coming in. After that, those doors would no longer need, to be maintained by security personnel.
Okay. And then, so a project this big, we select the construction management team 2 years early. Are they involved? Are they doing things from 2019 on, or are they are?
Yes, Mary Ann can speak to that in more detail, but they're an important team member. They're selected on qualifications. They help in terms of refining the phasing. As an example, they do buildability reviews, and they also participate in cost estimating. So there'll be an additional cost estimate being done as we move through the next phases of design.
All right.
Additionally, when they're involved, they become an integral part of the team, and so they will start in the beginning, and they'll do like a peer review of the estimates that we have already done, and most of the time we see that showing up during the proposals process, where people comment on the estimate that was put together, and then they again look at what their experience has been with other school projects. And also, when they're involved, they'll be putting together logistics plans. They'll be addressing, that was a great letter that was read into the record tonight, addressing the many issues that was brought to our attention from cobblestones, and those are the kinds of things that they're looking at. They're looking at deliveries, lay down areas, where construction workers are going to park. And then we're also looking at phasing, because the phasing is so critical that this is about keeping the school fully operational during a construction project. So there's many layers of activities that they're engaged in with the team, where, in terms of constructability reviews, they're really drilling down into the drawings and vetting with the OPM and the design team how to keep eliminating gray areas in the drawings as they continue to evolve. And the reason why this is really important, and just to go back to the contingencies, I just want to make it just a little finer point here, that when we look at the design and pricing contingency and escalation, we fully expect that money will be spent, because it's a calculation based on our experience with other projects. And estimating is as much an art as a science, and when people are trying to quantify something, it's based on what they see. And we know that there are certain things that just at this early conceptual schematic phase is not in the drawings. And so that's what those contingencies are for. We fully expect to spend that 18 million on design and pricing contingency and the 15 million on escalation. And then when you look at the construction manager's contingency, they typically carry about 3%, because that's something where they're managing any unknowns or mistakes they may have made within their own assessment. And then there's an owner's construction contingency for change orders. So for example, if we found out there was, abandoned foundations, then that would be a legitimate unforeseen condition, and it would be a change order. And so we're accounting for that, and it's probably about 6 to 7%. It's not a lot of money when it's a renovation project, and given the rich history of this area. And then the owner's contingency, that money, that is there for some decisions where, it might not have been apparent, but in a year or two, it might be apparent, like, geez, we should really do something more here, and that money is available for something like that. So we put what we think is a responsible budget together with the appropriate contingencies, and they're broken out the way they're broken out, because that's how the Mass School Building Authority wants us to break it out. So we're following their prescriptive process and spreadsheets for doing that.
Okay, thank you. And just one other quick thing. So in regards to people that spoke for cobblestones tonight, I just get a little nervous when all the drawings keep coming in showing that as a road. So I understand this is early and it's not permanent, but I just get nervous when you keep showing that as being access. I mean, right now it does seem to work, coming down Arcan Drive and going around to Father Morissette. So, I mean, the traffic flow around the building seems to work. There's not any outcry or anything like that, so.
Yeah, I mean, there are other considerations as we move through this, including
Right.
a loading dock area behind, for deliveries and so forth. Right now, it's very difficult to get deliveries into the high school.
Right, and that's why I've been saying I don't want to see the same design around the gymnasium as we have now, because it's hard to get deliveries and trucks in and out of there and stuff like that.
That's all part of the design as we move
Right.
forward.
Okay, all right, thank you.
Councilor Milonazo.
And thank you, Madam Chair. It's ironic, I was walking into City Hall tonight, and I got a call from one of my sisters who was at Cobblestones with her husband having dinner on Valentine's Day, and she asked me about the article in tonight's Lowell Sun. I had not seen it yet, but she did indicate that, she hopes that the city manager and her staff certainly take into consideration what she read in the newspaper. And obviously, the Cobblestones is an iconic business in the downtown. Scott and Kathy Platt have done so much, not only for the city, but for their employees. So I would hope that, Madam Manager, that you will certainly take what we heard this evening, and obviously the designers that were here, but at the same time, make sure that at the end of the day, I'm hoping that they're made whole, and hopefully that can happen because of all the good that they've given back to the community. Question for the team relative to the MSBA process. And when you look at a $434 a square foot for construction, and then you add in the contingencies, you end up coming up to about a $550 a square foot total project cost. And again, just from memory, I'm going over that they actually had a per square foot cap that you can't go over. So I'm just wondering if we're either at that cap, or am I talking?
I believe the contingencies are built into that, correct?
The contingencies are built into the 343.
No, to the total project cost.
The total construction cost of 270, the contingencies are in that number?
No, they're
No.
in the 343.
They're in the 343. So
Which
at the
is-
343, you're at $550 a square foot, not $434 a square foot.
Yeah, that's correct.
But all I'm asking is whether or not that square foot would be acceptable to the MSBA formula on a square foot basis. And that's one question. My second question is, I know these numbers are out, I think, 3 construction years, because we're breaking ground in 2021, and so, well, at least 2 construction years. Are you concerned with some of the other projects in the Commonwealth that, in my opinion, have come in, based upon what I hear in the morning and my ride in on WBZ, that's coming in over their original budget, and some are approaching just hard construction costs of the $500 to $600 a square foot? Are you concerned with what's going on relative to that?
Sure.
Thank you.
Counselor, I'm not concerned. I know that what we have done here is well within the MSBA guidelines. If you look at what we call grossing factors, that for the new construction, our grossing factor is below what is allowable by the MSBA, which is 1.5%. We're at 1.47 for the new construction, where that is something we can control. We can't control what exists. In terms of square foot costs, that is how the MSBA has us break this out, which is to look at the construction cost, which is at $434 a square foot, relative to other projects that can be much higher for construction costs. I know last week there was a conversation about Arlington, and their construction cost is at $578 a square foot. So we are below the average in terms of construction costs. And typically the way you look at a project, and this is standard in the industry, as like a quick rule of thumb, that your construction would be an 80% cost of a project, and then the other 20, you'd have another 20% for soft costs. And we're well within that range. And so in looking at the overall project cost, I would have to do the quick math here, but you're correct. The overall project cost is more than the 400, because that's just the breakout and of the construction, and then you have another 20% of soft costs on top of that. But it's not excessive, because other communities we're hearing and seeing that, we saw in Waltham in the paper, that they're well into $700, $750 a square foot. So we're very conscious of the needs of this community regarding being efficient with cost and design. And as far as the $333 per square foot cap that the MSBA has, that's not an assessment of what construction costs are. That's what they're saying, that's their cap if they're going to spread the money around the state, because there's 1,851 school, K through 12 public schools in Massachusetts. And if you kind of look at it as a perpetuity, if they approve 25 projects a year, core projects, and then they have their repair projects, over a 20-year period, some of these schools are going to come back in the pipeline for repairs. And so they have to cap it, or one community is going to get a lot of money and others aren't going to get anything.
Thank you. Could I just have a follow-up question?
Councilman Linazzo.
Thank you. Do you think, based upon the argument that we made to MSBA to allow us to increase the gym space, we could make the argument that a 62% reimbursement based upon the size of the school should be higher? I mean, we're at about 62%. Could could we make the argument that it should be 68% or 70% based upon, we're talking about a 623,000 square foot school. It's the second largest high school in the Commonwealth. I guess I'm just putting it out there, whether or not an argument could be made to increase the reimbursement percentage.
Unfortunately, it can't be made, and I'm asked this question every project I've ever worked on, because the rationale is, again, they are only going to allow you a certain reimbursement for eligible costs. The good news is that Lowell has maxed out at 80% reimbursement for eligible costs. But because there are costs that aren't eligible, such as any cost of construction above the $333 per square foot, automatically gets put on your side of the ledger, and that's why you end up with an effective rate of around 63%.
Thank you, Councilor. Chair recognizes Councilor Mercia.
Yes, thank you very much. Through you to the Perkins Eastman. Now, what if when you present this schematic design to the MSBA and they look at this and say, could they possibly say to scale it down at all anymore, the design, that it doesn't seem to meet the price of $343 million? Could they do that? Could that happen?
We have never had that experience. Normally, we have an ongoing open conversation with MSBA, and if there are issues, we know about them before we meet with them. MSBA doesn't like surprises for the design team, and they don't like surprises coming their way. So we would know that there was an issue before we met with them, and there's been no conversation about that.
Okay, so you hold firm that the schematic design equals $343 million? Okay,
Yes.
That's good. Having said that, this vote this evening is to support the project schematic design so that it may be submitted to the MSBA for their April 10th meeting with an estimated cost of $343 million. Although in the past and up to now, I have always supported the dentist and their 75 Arcan Drive building to remain. I also had hoped, and I still hope, that promises made are promises kept, as in the parking situation for Cobblestone's restaurant, because to me, this is a very crucial and important business whereby they hire 22 employees, mostly Lowellians, and I would hate for them to lose their job. They've been in business here with the city. In June will be 25 years. They have a payroll close to $1 million. Their property taxes are around $30,000, and they are very generous and make numerous donations to the community. So we can't overlook the importance that they bring and the value that they bring to the city. I also want to say that I realize that I lost the battle. I admit it. I accept defeat. I will always remain sorry for the departure of the dentist, and I hope I don't have to say Cobblestones as well. But as everyone says, we must move on, and therefore I do not want to be the one to stop Lowell High School from being rejuvenated and brought back to the beauty it once had, that every student deserves a good building, to which the majority of people voted and supported. So I will be voting yes this evening to support this project. I just want to, for the record, state that. Thank you.
Thank you, Council. Chair recognizes Council Conway.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Chairman. I want to echo what my colleagues have said about Cobblestone, and again, which was brought out by the gentleman, is the fact that in a business like that, the mortality rate is extremely high. And to have a business that's been there for over 25 years is quite an amazing feat. So, and again, what's been brought out, the fact that it has made many contributions, and also the fact that it has hired many people. And I can remember that building, the turnover of business was quite often. So again, whatever they're doing, and I know they're doing a great job, I go over there occasionally, and I think that whatever we can do to make sure that they stay here and still continue to be part of the fabric of the city, I think it's extremely important. Just a quick point here to the team. You mentioned that the square foot, it would be $434, was it $434 a foot? Is that what it was? And then you mentioned that some of the other towns, other projects were higher than that, and we were in the middle there somewhere. Is that right? And was one of them, you said Arlington? Is that what it was? Arlington, you said 540-ish in that vicinity?
What I was pointing to is what you can read in the newspaper, that as much as you can trust that. But yes, we're for construction at $434 a square foot, which is below the average, what we see trending with the MSBA based on what's posted on the MSBA website.
Right.
And
Just for the point of clarification, did you mention Arlington as 540-ish?
I mentioned Arlington, overall total project budget at around 578. No, I'm sorry, construction at 578.
And now, does that have anything to do with the fact that, and I'm not sure the last time you were here, if that was the school project that you were talking about, as far as it was Voc Tech, and because of that, it was a higher.
No, the reason why it's higher there is they have about 60,000 square feet of an eligible space that the MSBA does not participate in reimbursement. This project only has 2,800 square feet, and then they gross it up, that it comes out to be about 4,400 square feet. So there's a big difference when the MSBA says, we're not going to participate at all, because you might have district administration, they might have built something more that falls outside of the MSBA guidelines. The vocational schools that I spoke about, yes, are more expensive to build, such as, science classrooms are more expensive to build than an English classroom.
Thank you, I appreciate that.
Thank you, Council. Any further discussion?
Roll call.
Mr. Clerk, roll call. Yes.
Counsel Kennedy.
Yes.
Counsel Leahy.
Yes.
Counsel Mercia.
Yes.
Counsel Milonazo.
Yes.
Counsel Noon.
Yes.
Mayor Samaras. Counsel Cirillo.
Yes.
Counsel Conway.
Yes.
8 yeas.
Yeas, motion carries.
Mr. Chairman,
Council Kennedy.
I'd like to offer a subsequent motion to request that the city manager continue to work with Cobblestones in discussing or finding solutions to their parking problems and any other problems that are encountered as a result of the Lowell High School construction project.
Second time.
Is it a substitute or is it an amendment?
I think it's just a motion.
Just a motion, yeah. Motion by Council Kennedy, second by Council Conway to request city manager continue to work with Cobblestones to address parking and other miscellaneous concerns. Discussion on that motion. Motion made and seconded. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Any opposed? That motion carries.
Thank you. While we're still under suspension, I'd like to ask for a vote to allow Henry Marshan to come up and talk about Winterfest by Councilor Milonazo, seconded by Councilor Leahy. Henry?
Thank you. Happy to be here, and I know you have a meeting you want to wrap up, but I'll be brief. Winterfest is coming next weekend, February 22nd and 23rd, Friday night and all day Saturday. We have a number of returning activities and popular events, such as the soup contest, the carousel, ice skating. Whatever the weather, there will be ice skating. We did purchase an artificial ice surface last year, and so it's guaranteed not to melt. We also have entertainment. Both nights will have bands. There'll be 8 bands on both nights in 2 tents, as well as a band Saturday afternoon in the tent on Arcan Drive during the E for All marketplace. So we've added some new features. We've condensed the footprint to be on JFK Plaza as well as Arcan Drive. We'll have food trucks. There'll be beverage vendors. There'll be children's activities. Saturday afternoon is a lot of fun. Puppet show, a clown magic show, balloon twisting, face painting for the kids. So a lot of great fun, and every year it's been wonderful. Weather looks good, so we encourage everybody in the greater Lowell area to come on down, get out of your hibernation and enjoy winter outdoors.
All righty, thank you, Henry. Councilor Milanazzo?
Thank you, Mr. Marchand. My question is whether or not Henry Marchand, the magician, will be performing at the Winterfest.
Yeah.
It's a clown magic show, and though I've been called a clown on occasions, I do not combine it with a magic show.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
It'll be
See
Silly
you there.
Sally. It's a Silly Sally show with a bunch of fun stuff.
Great.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We'll be calling on you for your magic at budget time.
Happy
Thank
to be
you.
here.
Thank you, Henry. Thank
Thank
you. Going into the agenda, motion to accept the minutes of the Transportation Subcommittee for February 4th and the City Council special meeting February 5th and the City Council meeting February 5th for acceptance.
To accept,
Councilor-
place on file.
Okay, motion by Councilor Cirillo, seconded by Councilor Kennedy. Next is a vote for the council meeting of February 19th. This is a vote to cancel city council meeting for February 19th. By
cancel.
Councilor Milanazzo, seconded by Councilor Kennedy. Roll call.
Counselor Elliott. Yes. Counselor Kennedy.
Yes.
Counselor Leahy.
Yes.
Counselor Mercia.
Yes.
Counselor Milanazzo.
Yes.
Counselor Noon. Mayor Samaras. Counselor Cirillo.
Yes.
Counselor Conway.
Yes.
7 yeas.
Thank you. Motion passes. Now, vote to reappoint Brian Perry for the position of city auditor, but
Madam
this is-
Chairperson, I would move to reappoint Brian Perry to the position of city auditor for 3 years.
okay, motion by Councilor Kennedy, seconded by Councilor Conway. Roll call.
I have a substitute motion, if I could. I think it would be a substitute motion.
motion, Councilor
In
Milanazzo.
light of Mayor Samaras not being here
Okay.
and Vice Chair Noon having to leave,
Okay.
I would move in substitution that we delay action on this until February 26th.
Okay, motion to delay this vote for 2 weeks to February 26th by Councilor Milanazzo, seconded by Councilor Leahy. All those in favor signify by saying aye. All,
I don't object, but I'm just curious if there's a reason just out of courtesy, professional
It was
courtesy.
a good courtesy.
Sure.
okay, fine. So motion.
Thank you.
All those in favor signify by saying aye. Anyone opposed, motion carries. All right, thank you. Now, communication by the city manager, a motion response, voting equipment. Any comments on that? Councilor Leahy?
Sure, thank you. Through you to the manager. So it looks like a good report, and we, I don't know, could Etta just come up and say a few words on
Etta
it?
is here,
Yeah.
and she can answer questions, that are set out in the report or any others, so
Yep.
Etta Matchup
Thank
is
you.
here.
Are there any questions from my colleagues to Etta?
Yeah, she could just go over a couple of the details.
Okay.
It's
Go ahead,
about
Etta.
the expenses.
Thanks for having me. I'd also like
You're
to
welcome.
thank Commissioner Zoe Arthur for coming out tonight and joining us here at the council meeting. So you had asked me to put together a report about the equipment. We have talked about equipment for a while now, and it was kind of a two-part response. One was about our tabulation equipment that we use on elections, and the other piece was about some new technology that we've seen at early voting and that we've heard about, and but it's currently not accepted to use on Election Day. So I wanted to clarify that the poll pads that I did include in the report, that I do have a cost for if we so choose to in the future implement them, we couldn't use those yet, and we actually do not have a date for when those will be available for use during regular voting. The next time we know we'll be able to use poll pads is for 1 week of early voting for the presidential primary in March of 2020.
Can I just jump in for?
Please.
So with those poll pads, is that something that everybody's gonna go to? Will it have like a picture of you with your address, so more security?
It doesn't have pictures of people, but it does have addresses. So one of the pluses of the poll pad is that it actually draws from the entire voter database. So as we use it at early voting, and we've learned that anyone from the entire city can check in at any of our early voting locations, it would just be transitioning that ability to look people up to the check-in table at all 33 of our precincts on Election Day.
It'd be kind of nice in the future if they had a picture of you there, just to cut down on if there is any voter fraud, so maybe that's something you can work on when you get down there, Council, Senator, so, but, and then as far as replacing the,
So I have received some quotes for replacing the equipment. There's also some changes that are happening at the state level, including the possibility of election equipment transitioning onto the state procurement contract. The Commonwealth, through the Secretary's office, has received some funding from the federal government to improve election technology. So although I do have a cost or price at the time, I think that it's really important that we try to take advantage of any purchasing abilities that we could have with the Secretary's office in the future. Our equipment that we're using now, although it's from 1998, is very reliable. It's in good working order. We've put a lot of effort into making sure that our equipment's working properly. I used the example of a very reliable car that our mechanic will work on to the Election Commission the other night, and I think that that's an appropriate analogy. So moving forward, we'll continue to work collaboratively with the state to ideally take advantage of whatever acquisition process they have for us.
okay, thank you for the report.
Thank you.
Thank you, Etta. Next, motion response, no parking zones on Pawtucket Boulevard. Any questions or concerns from my colleagues? Having heard from no one, motion to adopt these
Move to accept the reports and place
by
on file.
Councilor Elliott, seconded by Councilor Kennedy. Thank you. Next is a communication from the city manager for out-of-state travel. One is the Career Center and the other is the Law Department. 4.2, okay. Oh, I'm sorry. Next is a communication to reappoint Aurora Erickson to the Historic Board.
So moved.
Motion to adopt by Councilor Cirillo, seconded by Councilor Conway. Roll call.
Counselor Elliott.
Yes.
Counselor Kennedy.
Yes.
Counselor Leahy.
Yes.
Counselor Mercia.
Yes.
Counselor Milonazo.
Yes.
Counselor Noon. Mayor Samaras. Counselor Cirillo.
Yes.
Counselor Conway.
Yes.
Thank you.
7 years.
Next is a communication. Oh, she isn't here.
7 o'clock.
She's not here. Motion is next is a communication by city manager, request out-of-state travel. One is for the Career Center and one is a request from the Law Department. Motion to adopt by Councilor Elliott, seconded by Councilor Conway. Roll call.
Counselor Elliott.
Yes.
Counselor Kennedy.
Yes.
Counselor Leahy.
Yes.
Counselor Mercia.
Yes.
Counselor Milonazo.
Yes.
Counselor Noon. Mayor Samaras. Counselor Cirillo.
Yes.
Counselor Conway.
Yes.
7 years.
Next is a vote from the city manager to accept the Mass General Law, Chapter 40, Section 5B, fourth paragraph, if in the first reading referred to a public hearing on February 26th by Councilor Conway, seconded by Councilor Milonazo. Roll call.
Counselor Elliott.
Yes.
Counselor Kennedy.
Yes.
Counselor Leahy.
Yes.
Counselor Mercia.
Yes.
Counselor Milonazo.
Yes.
Counselor Noon. Mayor Samaras. Counselor Cirillo.
Yes.
Counselor Conway.
Yes.
7 years.
Next is a vote authorizing the city manager for temporary access agreement with 150 Douglas Road. Read twice, waive the full reading. Motion to adopt by Councilor Cirillo, seconded by Councilor Conway. Roll call.
Counselor Elliott.
Yes.
Counsel Kennedy.
Yes.
Counsel Leahy.
Yes.
Counsel Mercia.
Yes.
Counsel Milonazo.
Yes.
Counsel Noon. Mayor Samaras. Counsel Cirillo.
Yes.
Counsel Conway.
Yes.
7 yeas.
Okay, next is an order from the city manager. Waive the full reading, adopt the accompanying order by Councilor Kennedy, seconded by Councilor Leahy. Roll call.
Counsel Elliott.
Yes.
Counsel Kennedy.
Yes.
Counsel Leahy.
Yes.
Counsel Mercia.
Yes.
Counsel Milonazo. Counsel Noon. Mayor Samaras. Counsel Cirillo.
Yes.
Counsel Conway.
Yes.
7 yeas.
Next is an ordinance for the quarterly traffic report, given the first reading. Refer to a public hearing on February 26th at 7 o'clock by Councilor Kennedy, seconded by Councilor Conway. Roll call.
Wait, Council,
Yes.
Madam Chair, could I ask the traffic engineer just a question on Dutton Street? Is she here? Could you just explain, I'm unfamiliar, traffic control signal legend on Dutton Street and Market? What are we, as well as Central and Merrimack, what we're trying to do there?
Are we looking at the 60-day trials or the quarterly memo?
Yes, that's going to a public hearing, but I'm just kind of,
The quarterly memo?
yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry, can you tell me the street you're looking at again?
It's amending 26621, and it says traffic control signal legend D2. Traffic, Dutton Street and Market Street against.
Oh, yeah, that's the no right turn on red at Dutton and Market. I know it's sort of a strange way to word it, but
Right.
that's how our traffic ordinances are written for no right on red sign.
Okay, and that's taking place, the same thing on Dutton and Market.
Yeah, all four corners of the Dutton and Market intersection, no right on red.
And can you explain Central and Merrimack against eastbound traffic on Merrimack Street?
So traffic traveling on Merrimack Street that would turn right on red through the crosswalk would not be able to turn right on red. This was from the motion, I believe, from Councilor Leahy and Noon about downtown pedestrian safety. And so my recommendation was that we limit right turn on red at those three more dangerous intersections, and by doing that, enable and then add a leading pedestrian interval for pedestrians, so they
okay.
have the 5 seconds in the crosswalk, and people won't be turning behind them.
Got it, no, Central and Market, got it. I mean Merrimack, okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you. We don't need a roll call on that. Next is a resolution to support Veterans Commission by affording them notice, decisions, or actions and opportunities to be heard on issues affecting veterans. Motion to waive the full reading by Councilor Conway, seconded by Councilor Milonazo. Motion to adopt by Councilor Kennedy, seconded by Councilor Cirillo. Roll call.
Counsel Elliott.
Yes.
Counsel Kennedy.
Yes.
Counsel Leahy.
Yes.
Counsel Mercia.
Yes.
Counsel Milonazo.
Yes.
Counsel Noon. Mayor Samaras. Counsel Cirillo.
Yes.
Counsel Conway.
Yes.
7 yeas.
Are there any reports of the Public Safety Subcommittee?
If I just make a note, Madam Chair, that the Public Safety Subcommittee that was originally scheduled and postponed due to the weather is going to be on for February 26th.
February 26th, okay, thank you. Motions, Councilor Elliott, first motion is mine, so.
Can I go up next?
Can we pass that?
First motion of the evening is by Council Mercia, requesting the manager have proper department consult with the gas company to see if it's possible to install gas pressure relief valve safety whistle to alert customers if a gas line is over pressurized. Seconded by Council Conway. Council Mercia?
Thank you, Councilor Elliott. I bring this motion to the City Council this evening because I feel that all the devastation that was caused by the past gas destruction in Lawrence, North Andover, and Andover by the Columbia gas explosion last year should be looked at very closely in the area that we, as councilors, represent. We owe our constituents reassurance that we as their representatives, has done everything possible to provide for their safety. And although I feel we have done that, could we do more? I feel the answer is yes. In your council packet, I have provided each of you with a picture of the gas setup in most families' yards. I also have this device that I'm looking at. But I understand that there is no pressure valve on customers' gas lines now, but there is a regulator which slows down the pressure very slightly and gives us no warning. So I assumed that there was a gas valve, but actually there is not. There's that regulator. But what I am proposing is something more, and it is called a GPW. It's a gas pressure whistle. The picture at the bottom of your page is a simple device, and it is here in person. If I could just pass it down so that you could get a look at what it is. It is applied to the above diagram. That is a safety valve that would be installed after the pressure regulator outside the dwelling in the event that the gas regulator fails or the line is overpressurized. This high-pressure valve is designed to help alleviate the excess gas pressure from entering the dwelling. It will release the gas into the atmosphere and sound an alarm to warn occupants of the dwelling to evacuate and call 911. This valve is 100% mechanical and does not require batteries or electricity to operate. This alarm sounds at approximately 80 decibels. We have something in our house called a smoke alarm. When there is smoke, the alarm goes off and gives us a warning. We have carbon monoxide detectors that go off and give us an alarm when there is carbon monoxide in the house. As a delivery truck or a utility truck, when they're backing up, there is an alarm that it gives us a warning that this truck is backing up. And when my house is in danger of exploding because of too much gas pressure, I want to know about it before it happens. I want an alarm that tells me to get the heck out of the house before it's too late. So this is, in essence, what this motion is all about. And I would ask that, through you to the manager, that we have someone talk to the National Grid to see if they could go further in helping us and our customers to be more safe. So that's just the gist of this motion. I don't have anything more to say, but if anybody has any questions, there is the man here that could answer that.
All set?
Yes, thank you.
All set, Councilor?
That's it.
Okay. Councilor Sorillo?
Hi, yes, thank you. I work in the civil and utilities business, and I actually did a search on this gas pressure relief valve safety whistle, and I couldn't find it. So, and I asked around to everyone, people who work out in the field. I looked for it online. I couldn't find it, and I asked project managers and the like. I asked about 8 people who work in the gas civil utilities department in my company, and no one had seen anything like it. And then I did contact the maker of the product. So thank you for that. And I think it's a fantastic thing. But I notice here that it's actually a patent, so it doesn't currently exist, correct? It's just a patent. So wait, let me finish.
Let me introduce myself.
Yes.
Rod Whitman. I live at 292 Aiken Ave in Lowell. I'm the inventor.
Yes.
It does exist.
Yes.
It does work.
Okay.
We filed a patent
Right.
for it.
Yes. Yes, did you receive the go-ahead for the
No,
patent?
it's patent pending.
Okay, yeah,
Okay, through the patent attorneys, with local attorneys,
Yeah.
Boston attorneys and everything, I can go public with it.
okay, and so after it goes into, comes back from the patent, then you have to go to the Massachusetts Department of Public Utilities and have them approve it.
Right now, I'm starting here as a city of Lowell.
Yeah.
We need to be a leader and let other towns follow us. And if a simple city ordinance was passed, anyone that has any type of natural gas, propane coming into their dwelling should have some type of safety device on it to warn the occupants, hey, overpressurized gas. I mean, everything that's happened recently we know about, but if I may, according to the National Transport Safety Board, let's go back 1983 in Boston. A water main pipe actually created overpressurized. Back in 1992, 14 houses destroyed, 4 people killed, 4 injured. I mean, so this is, right now, it's fresh. But this other stuff that's happened, and I'm afraid it's going to happen in the beginning. I mean, this valve does 2 things. One, it releases excess pressure, but it sounds an alarm. If you'd like to hear it, I can.
No, thank you, though.
Would anyone like to hear it?
Yes, I want to hear it.
I'm sorry, but it's a unique sound. It's not like, no, it's a unique sound. Can you imagine a whole street of these going off? Everyone's going to, even if you're sleeping, and that's what we want, get out of the house before it blows up. Any questions?
Okay, so what happened in Lawrence, Andover, and North Andover was the low-pressure gas was going into the homes. It was low-pressure gas main that was going into the homes, because with the low pressure, it doesn't have the regulator. So what happens is you just have a pipe going into the home. So what the company, the gas company did was it now installed high pressure gas installations outside of the homes, which does have the regulator for the high pressure. So, and the regulator does release the gas when it gets overpressurized, the high pressure, the regulator does release the gas. So that is what that does. And believe me, I think that this is great. I do. It's like a crossing T's and dotting I's, and but it's in patent mode, so it's not really in existence as far as because I couldn't find it anywhere except for on when you messaged me.
Right, because it's here. This is it.
I'm just a little concerned that we're voting on something that is, it's not tested by the utility, it's not tested by the Department of Public Utilities. While I think it's a fantastic idea, and I truly do, and I hope that the patent does go through and it does get approved by the Massachusetts Department of Utilities, but then you have to wonder, will it also be approved by National Grid, and will they use it? So there is all of this. There's a lot of questions that I have, and I don't feel comfortable approving, saying yes to this motion on just a patent.
If I may, this device right here is on tanks that are transported over the road that has oxygen, propane, and they're out in the sun, and it builds up pressure. It releases it so the tanks don't blow up. So this is already approved for natural gas and propane. This is not the patent. This is the patent. So this is already approved.
Right,
And
yes.
a blow-off valve, they're on fire engines that you have in your car, anything with a compressor, that your air conditioner's got a compressor, it has a blow-off valve on it. All I'm doing is adding a whistle to notify the residents to evacuate, get out of the house.
I'll ask for a roll call.
Okay, wait, hold on, Council Mercer, Council Kennedy.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. So I think what Councilor Cirillo was saying was that this hasn't hit the market yet. This isn't, right? But what
Correct.
you're saying is the valve has, but the whistle is the brand-new part. The whistle is yours. And that has not hit the market yet, but you anticipate that it will pretty soon?
Yes, I mean, it's a safety device, and I think everyone should have it somewhere.
Right.
And unfortunately, we have to force your gas supplier companies to install it, because they're in the business to make money. They don't want to spend the money, and so, yeah, but their mechanics can install it themselves. It's really easy.
So would you put that, would those be indoors or outdoors?
Outside the dwelling,
Okay,
after the pressure regulator.
yeah.
Because right now, they have high gas pressure in Lawrence with a regulator, and it blew right past the regulators. The appliances have regulators. It blew the regulators out there. Even in Lowell, we still have a lot of houses with low pressure with no regulators on.
How loud is that? Do you know?
80 decibels.
80 decibels, okay. All right, well, I guess, I mean, the motion just asked that it be sent to the city manager and they consult with the gas company, which I think is, it can be sorted out there. So I guess that would be the thing to do. That's why the city manager's paid the big bucks. Thank you.
Council, Madam Manager.
Thank you. We will go to the gas company and with our city engineer, get information and come back with a report. We may, if we can get your contact information in case our engineer has specific questions, so that we can put her in contact with you as well.
Thank you. Further, Council Cirillo.
Yes, I'll revise my thoughts on it and hope for the best. Thank you.
Okay, further discussion on this motion? Council, did you want a roll call? Still?
Pardon me?
Did you want a roll call?
Yes, please.
Roll call.
Councilor Elliott?
Yes.
Councilor Kennedy?
Yes.
Councilor Leahy?
Yes.
Councilor Mercia?
Yes.
Councilor Milonazo?
Yes.
Councilor Noon? Mayor Samaras? Councilor Cirillo?
Yes.
Councilor Conway?
Yes.
7 yeas.
7 yeas. Motion.
Thank you very much.
Motion carries. Did you get his name and address?
Yeah.
Okay. Next motion of the night, again, is Council Mercia. Request city manager have proper department provide a report regarding the status and progress of all sewer, water, gas, and electricity tie-ins for parcels located in the Hamilton Innovation District. Report to include name of contractors and other interested parties, as well as timelines for each utility. Seconded by Council Leahy. Council Mercia?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Councilor Elliott, the motion speaks for itself, but if you can remove the contracts, I don't recall I said that.
Okay.
Contracts,
So, motion by the maker to amend her own motion to exclude the report to include name of contractors and other
Yeah,
interested
I don't
parties.
think I said contracts. I just want to know where we sit with the utility tie-ins. Did they start yet? Maybe they started yet. I really don't know, and I'm just looking for a report, that's all.
Okay.
That's all.
Further discussion on this motion? Motion as amended. All those in favor signify by saying aye, and the opposed, that motion carries. Council
Thank
Mercia?
you.
Say anything, put it to the 26th. You didn't tell me anything.
Oh, yeah. She's gonna come back.
Oh, okay.
Okay, good, thank you.
It's news, but you want to put it to the 26th. You didn't tell me what to do with this. Just put it on for the 26th.
Okay, Councilor Noon has a motion. I think we could just make a motion to put it to the next meeting, the 26th or whatever.
Yeah, 26.
Because he should be able to talk about it, and sure. Thank you by Councilor Cirillo, seconded by Councilor Kennedy. Thank you.
Okay.
Do that. And then we have Councilor Leahy requests the city manager provide updates regarding renovation at the Lowell Police Department headquarters, seconded by Councilor Elliott. Councilor Leahy.
Thank you. Just to the man, just if we could find out with the chief what was going on with locker rooms. I know the keypads have been changed out. I think that's done. So the locker rooms, we were trying to get them painted, then there was going to turn into a renovation project, and so I just want to do something over there. So.
Yeah, we will get you the update. We have been in conversation with the chief about it, and, the new person who's now in charge is on the radar. So we'll get you that update, Counselor.
Okay, thank you.
Councilor Elliott.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I believe when you were still a state senator, Madam Manager, you had an earmark put in for design, it was the Economic Development Bond Bill, or was it the Infrastructure Bond Bill? One of the two, but it was a $3 million mark. And I'm wondering if, considering we have a member of the legislature right here to my left, that we could get that funded maybe in the operating, or, I mean...
We'll ask Senator Kennedy. It was a study, especially around public safety in
Right.
Lowell, as far as public safety facility. What was...
Was it study and design, or...
I think it was study and design.
Yeah, it was study and design.
And we were also looking at, because some other communities had combined training with their public safety
Right.
subcommittee, and there were state funds that were being requested for that purpose. So we can look into that. It's still in the bond bill, so
Right.
we can try and work on that.
So that'd be good. I know there were some marks for hazardous waste at the high school too, so we can use every nickel that we can there. I believe was it Senator Latalia had put those in after, so we have Council
That was some
Kennedy.
of the cleanup costs that we would encounter, and so Senator Latalian did put in for
Right.
earmarks.
So 1.25 million is quite a bit of money, so there's some homework, Councilor or Senator.
Any further discussion? All those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye. All those opposed, motion carries. Next motion by Councilor Leahy. Request city manager provide an update regarding the previous motion to allow retired policemen to work detail. Seconded by Councilor Milanazzo. Councilor Leahy.
Thank you. Through you to the manager. Again, I can't remember when we have this on, but you know what it's familiar with it. So I just want an update. It seems, that it works well in Cambridge, and I think that the police unions, I think that they're on board. The chief may be on board with that. I haven't spoken to him, but it seems like it works, We don't go to anybody that's officially working. Once we deplete that list, we go to the retirees. It's good to have city guys working in the city. So if we can look into it and see what the status is and start talks again to see if it's good.
We'll get your report on that. I know the law department was looking at it as well concerning liability and,
Right.
111F issues and this, but we will get you a full report.
Okay, yeah, it's my understanding that they're basically like independent contractors. They're responsible for their own safety instructions, safety upgrades, insurance and all that. So let's get a report and see where it is and see if it works for us. Thank you.
Any further discussion? All those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye. All those opposed, motion carries. Next is a motion by Councilor Milanazzo. Request the city manager have the CFO prepare a report highlighting costs associated with salary and wages for the school department's budget for the last two contract periods, which would be 6 years, including teachers, administrators, and custodial staff.
Seconded.
Seconded by Councilor Cirillo. Councilor Milanazzo.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I bring this motion forward somewhat out of frustration over the last week or so when the head of the union here in the city, Paul Georges, had submitted this information not only to the city administration, and we all received a copy of it relative to what's going on in some of our school buildings, but also to the Board of Health and to the state, as I understand it. And I guess I was just frustrated, and the reason for the motion is we only have a certain size pie, if you will, relative to the budget, and I'm curious as to see what we've now added to the budget over the last few years relative to salary and wages. And I understand the Chapter 70 aspect. I understand that our local share has gone up. We've met our net school spending. I know it may have decreased over the last fiscal year, but again, I bring this forward out of frustration. It's not that we as a community are ignoring our schools. We have a $9 billion bond bill this year, and $1.2 billion is for the high school roof, $1 million for various other school buildings, $80,000 for the Butler School, equipment, $228,000 for equipment in the school. So it's not something this body is ignoring, and it's just really, I bring this forward because I just want to see how the salary and wages have increased over the last 6 years, and some of what I've seen in the next motion deals with it relative to contracting for outside services. We actually have 93 custodians in our school buildings, and based upon the Collins report, we're actually overstaffed, but it doesn't seem like the work is getting done, and I don't know why that is, but we talked about it here a few months ago, some of the frustration that we've seen in some of the schools, that the work hasn't been getting done. And even Rick Underwood, to his credit, said, you know, call me, I'll take care of it and so forth. But at the end of the day, we're all trying to make the schools better, yet we have the head of the union, Paul Georges, you know, before the Board of Health, I watched it on Channel 25 out of Boston saying, oh my goodness, you know, it made it look like we were ignoring the situation, when in actuality, in my opinion, we haven't been ignoring the situation. So, again, I'm looking to get this information relative to the costs, and once we do get that information from the administration, I'm going to try to tie it back into other costs that we've spent on capital improvements over the last few fiscal years as well. So that's the gist of the motion.
Yes.
Thank you.
Madam Manager.
Thank you. I just wanted to address one point. I know 2 weeks ago I did put on everyone's desk our response to the complaint or the petition that was filed with the Board of Health that went school by school and illustrated all the work that we have done. Essentially, virtually everything that was on the complaint list had been addressed and repaired. Our staff, DPWs in the schools, constantly, every day, making repairs. Does the list change? Yes, on a daily basis. And so that's an ever moving target. But as I said, the vast majority of every single thing on the list, as was reported at the Board of Health, had been done by the city, had been done in a timely manner. And actually, the Board of Health did go through each complaint one by one. So, you know, there certainly are challenges. We're not, you know, trying to kid anybody in some of our aging schools and facilities, but by no means have they been ignored.
Right. I mean, again, the reports indicate the average age, if I could, Madam Chair, is 59 years old of the school buildings in this city. The average age is about 59 years old across the 27 school buildings. So we do have our challenges, no doubt.
And we did report to the Board of Health, and we will likewise do so with the state, that when it comes to heating facilities, which seems to be a focus and concern, the average age of our boilers is 25 years old, and the useful life is average 15 to 20. So that's why I do want the council to know we did submit on time our accelerated repair program applications that are due tomorrow with the MSBA. This was a massive undertaking. Each application required much detail, and I want to thank my staff, entire staff that worked very hard on getting those out and done. And we're going to proceed and look forward to working with the MSBA for these repairs, boilers and roofs in particular.
Thank you.
Thank you. Councilor Leahy.
So I just wanted to add that, you know, this is a good motion to take a look at everything. I told you, Madam Manager, I was over at the high school today for the fair, science fair, and I took a walk around the building. And, you know, you can see the repairs that are being done. And the guys, you know, like you said, the lands and buildings, they're in the schools, they're doing the repairs, and people have to understand that, you know, 14% of the budget goes, you know, 86% of the budget is salaries. So we're working with 15% to fix everything in the city, roads, everything, municipal buildings. So overall, the high school looked very good to me today, you know? And that was just one school, but I can see the improvements that they've been doing. So I thought that the hallways looked clean, the cafeteria was busy, but it looked clean, so I can see the improvements. Thank you.
Any further comment,
Well, I just wanted to add, maybe this was part of the motion, but, you know, included in what the city does do is maintenance of effort. So those are real costs that we do contribute to that. So I think that would be helpful to get that total project cost, or total, the aggregate cost of what we spend.
Councilor Milanazzo?
That's fine. I think Councilor Elliott's correct, so be happy to include that in the motion.
All those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye. All those opposed, motion carries. The last motion of the evening is by Councilor Milanazzo. Request city manager prepare a list of work items that could potentially be completed by an outside contractor for both maintenance and custodial work throughout our municipal and school buildings. Seconded by Councilor, okay, there's two. Councilor Cirillo, go ahead.
Thank you. I'll be brief. I brought a similar motion up a few months ago, and I think I used the word privatize in there, and I got calls from every union across, in fact, representatives out of Boston relative to the motion at the time. But when I looked at this report, Madam Manager, that was given to us back in June, where it talks about contractual services for FY16 through FY18, the dollar amount for contractual services by type combined dropped from $539,000 down to $180,000. And just another example, mechanical equipment and repair went from $139,000 down to $8,000. So again, if you look at this list, and then again, hear about what's going on throughout the city, and I know that we do have contractors out there helping our custodial and our maintenance staff. I just think it would be a good idea to revisit this list and come up with some items that could potentially take the pressure off our own staff. And again, I may hear from Paul Georges and Jim Durkin and Keith Rudy and everybody else tomorrow, but at the end of the day, we need to get the work done. We really need to get the work done. So that's why that motion is before us. Thank you.
Councilor Kennedy.
Thank you, Madam Chairperson. I think this is a good motion to have. I think that if we're going to get on top of that list, which is very, very long, that a part of that, at least on the short term, is probably going to have to be to have outside contractors take on a part of that work. So it would be good to know how much of it they would be able to do, and it would also be good to know how long that might take and how much that might cost in order to do that. So I think this motion is a good motion to have. I do think, though, I think Councilor Milanazzo mentioned that the Collins report said we were overstaffed. I believe the Collins report says we're understaffed, at least with skilled positions. So then, I don't remember what it says about custodians, but I think in terms of plumbers or electricians or skilled maintenance people, that we're understaffed and pretty severely understaffed, actually.
Right, correct. Right.
Yeah, but
yes,
the Collins Center, I think it did say overstaffed on custodial side, understaffed on lands and buildings side, and I think for some reason number 14 comes to mind. But I will say that it is difficult to hire. We have advertised, and it's hard to find people with the skill set that we're looking for, HVAC and so forth. But we will get the full report. In following up on a motion that Councilor Leahy filed a few weeks back about looking at DPW and what can be done, we're in conversation with the new commissioner about coming up with new ideas, and this we will also bring to the new commissioner.
Thank you. Councilor Leahy.
Just quickly, so with this motion, I've been asking this for years too, and I think it just came up on the school side. If we can work into negotiations, a couple of handy people who come in second shift and just do a few things like tile work, fix a broken door handle, repair a small hole in the wall. You know, over at the high school, there's one wall that got kicked in a little bit. It's not that bad, but again, all it needs is a piece of plywood screwed on and just paint it and you're done. And it doesn't need to sit there for 6 months like that. So again, anything we can work together to do, we're not taking work away from the unions. We're just saying you can't handle it all right now and we need to get these things done. So it's a good motion. Thank you.
Thank you. All those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye. All those opposed, motion carries. Do we have any announcements this evening? Yes.
Just
Councilor
to echo
Kennedy.
Henry Marchand, hopefully we'll see all of us next weekend at Winterfest.
Okay, then.
There was a time a few years ago when the city manager and the mayor used to get on the slide to open it up, but
That's right.
I don't think we're doing that anymore.
I don't think there's a slide. I wonder why. No.
There's a merry-go-round.
There's a merry-go-round. There we go.
And there's a chocolate event, too, Chocolate Fest.
Maybe we could have a
There you
chocolate
go.
eating contest.
Motion to adjourn. Thank you. Happy Valentine's Day.
Good job. Like you never left.